Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be running down our top 10 auction/bidding games, and let's get this straight, right, because I don't want to get into a scrap with any of you lot. We're only going to be talking about games that have auctions as a central mechanism. We're not going to be talking about games like Power Grid, Cyclades, and all those games where auctions feature, right? We're going to be talking about pure auction games, right? Remember, if your favourite bidding/auction game isn't on this list, that's because A, we haven't played it, or B, we think it's shit. So remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So number 10 on this list is a game called Stockpile. In this game, you will be receiving some kind of insider information at the beginning of each round, right? The stock that's going to be available is going to sometimes be face up, sometimes going to be face down, right? So the idea of this game is you're going to be bidding on piles of stock that's going to be called stockpiles, yeah? And you're going to be paying fees on these stocks, which can lead to a dangerous investment. And then you've got to decide when the best time is to jettison the stock that you got into outer space, because it could tank in the future. You've also got some cards in this game that are sort of loosely based on some sort of, I use the term loosely as well, celebrities, but they're going to give you a special ability. It was embellished by a couple of decent expansions, and whilst the game can drag on a little bit and the rules can be a little bit obtuse when you first get into it, nevertheless, Stockpile is one of the best auction bidding games, thematically speaking. So number 9 on this list is a tiny card game, right? It used to play out at 5, now it plays up to 7, but nothing's really changed, yeah? It's called No Thanks. This is kind of like a reverse auction game, yeah? You've got a certain amount of cards, each with a number on it going up to 33, and each round a card will be revealed, and you'll either take the card or you will put a chip on it and say no thanks, and then it will go round to the next person. Eventually somebody is going to have to take the card, because either there's so many chips on the card that you're going to get, or you run out of chips yourself, or you just feel like taking it, right? At the end of the game, you're going to top up all of the values of the cards that you've got, yeah? And the player with the lowest value wins. However, you'll be able to make runs, not get the runs, right? You'll be able to make runs in this game. So if you end up having, say, 25 and 26, if you get the 24 card, then that is going to be the lowest card in the set. It cancels out all the other cards in that run. No Thanks is a fantastic game. Sometimes it's better to say no thanks and let the backwards auction run a couple of rounds so that you can amass more chips on the card before taking it. And sometimes you can even force other players to take the cards that they don't want because they're too shit scared of running out of chips themselves, yeah? No Thanks, a fantastic tiny little game that should be in everybody's collection, you know? So number 8 on this list is a venerable game that has been doing around for donkey's years. It was recently rethemed into some shitty nonsense theme that nobody gave a fuck about. But this game is Biblios, right? In Biblios, you're going to win if you get the most victory points, but you're going to be doing this over 2 different phases. The first phase you're going to get is the donations phase, where you'll be taking free cards, replacing some cards into another deck that in the next round you'll be bidding on to buy. The thing is, the value of these cards will fluctuate throughout the game. So what you thought you were buying at the beginning of the round may not be what you have in your hand at the end. It's such a clever little game, yeah. We've been playing Biblios for absolute ages, from when it was first released in the late 2000s, and the designer went on a bit of a roll after this. He produced some pretty decent games. Recently been producing a lot of dog shit, but there was a few decent games by Dr. Finn's games after this one. So yeah, Biblios is a charming little game that never gets old, and just don't know why they bothered to reprint it with a shitty theme. They should put it back to the wine-swigging monk theme, yeah? So number 7 on this list is a game that was designed by Scott Nicholson of the Board Games with Scott YouTube channel thing. That was probably one of the first YouTube channels about board games ages ago, right? This game is also a dexterity game, yeah? Every player's going to get a load of cubes. There's going to be some cups in the centre of the table, and each cup represents an auction for both a country and a type of commodity. And one player is going to be the auctioneer. They're going to have this big fuck off paddle that is always broken in every copy I've seen. They're going to count down from 10 to 1 at any speed they want, and people are going to be chucking their cubes into these different cups, yeah? Once the auction's over, the auctioneer will slam the paddle down and there'll be no more bids. You'll see who's got the majority of cubes in each cup, and then the majority holder will win that card. Then you'll do some set collection stuff, you'll get victory points and all that shit, right? This is a frantic game, yeah? Plays up to 6 players, you're going to have cubes flying all over the place, you're going to have the unknown quantity of the speed of the countdown. It's just such a simple concept, just chuck cubes into a cup and ta-da, you win, right? So yeah, auction, bidding and dexterity. It's a superb combination, right? So number 6 on this list is a game called Outbid. It was originally called the eBay Talking Auction Game, right? This is an electronic auction game. You're going to need a couple of batteries, yeah. Okay, millennials. Batteries are these little cylinders that used to put into toys at Christmas that used to power my Talking Commander, right? Actually, I don't think my Talking Commander had batteries. I just think he had like some thing that used to pull out of his neck, probably a syringe, yeah. But anyway, you're going to be putting batteries into this contraption, yeah, and the 2K chip inside the unit decides what the turn order is going to be. The game's going to call out a colour, and then the player who's that colour is going to have a certain amount of time to decide how much they want to bid. And when the time runs out, there will be a buzzer and it'll be the next player's turn. The thing that makes this game fantastic is that the real value of the item you're bidding on is only known at the end of the auction when you fucking won it, right? So you might think that you're bidding on Barbie's knickers when in fact you're bidding on a crock of shit. Add to this the fact that you can score double if you get a collection of 3 or more of the same item. And this means you've got a fantastic auction game, right? Albeit a little bit Hasbro-y. Because it's in real time, it's really fast, it goes really quickly. And I once saw someone piss themselves while playing this because they got too excited, yeah? So grab yourself a nappy, strap it on and have a crack at this game, yeah? So the next game on our top 10 auction/bidding games is a game by Rana Knizia. It's Ra. This is primarily a set collection game, right? You're going to be able to purchase stuff that's been chucked out of a bag by using your bidding tile, which is a sort of a sun tile, yeah? You're going to keep doing this until there's one person left who could bid uncontested. The thing about this is that the round may end before each of the players gets to fulfill their 3 lots, yeah? Some of the tiles give you immediate bonuses. Some will give you negative points. Some will give you points at the game's end, right? Ra is just a fantastic game. It does suffer from the usual nonsense theme that Rana Knizia's games have. In fact, they don't have any theme. You might as well make a theme about soiled toilet paper. But the way that the tension builds in Ra is probably unmatched. And if you can live with the fact that this has absolutely no theme whatsoever, then rather than go out and buy toilet paper and soil it yourself, just go out and buy a copy of Ra, innit? Fucking dickhead. The next game on this list is a game by Stefan Dora. It is a game called For Sale. This bidding game is split into 2 phases, right? First of all, you're going to be bidding for different types of buildings that have a unit value, right? Once all these buildings have been auctioned off, then you'll be selling the buildings for a load of profit, right? So for instance, you might end up buying a mansion for 6 billion euros and you might end up selling it for a couple of sesterces, right? But it can work the other way. You might end up buying an outhouse for a shitload of money and then flogging it for fuck all. There was a major balls up with the rules in this where the money that you get back from the original auction round, you round up. And I think the designer decided that you should round it down and make it fairer, right? That was a bit of a cock up. But our copy For Sale has got some fantastic cartoony style artwork. Always raises the roof when you manage to pull off a wonder bargain in this one. And there's a reason why it's still in print today for all these years, and that's because it's fucking awesome, right? It's number 3 on this list is a game called Skull, or if you're old school like me, Skull and Roses. In this game, you'll be getting a set of beer mats. One has got a skull on, the others have got roses on. In the first round, you'll choose either a skull or a rose. You'll put it face down in front of you. Then when it comes around again, you'll decide to either place another beer mat down or you can open the bid in. If you open the bid in, you will claim that you can turn over a certain amount of beer mats without revealing the skull, starting with your own one. Then you'll proceed to turn over that many beer mats, and if you do, flip over your main mat and then you get a point. The first to 2 points wins. If you reveal a skull, you fuck up, then someone will randomly take a beer mat away, and once you run out of beer mats, you are eliminated from the game, yeah? But it doesn't matter because the game is over pretty quickly. Well, I say that if you're playing with a lower player count, if you mix 2 sets together, you're going to be here till the cows come home. The thing that we love about Skull and Roses is that aside from the actual bidding, you can sort of mould your strategy around previous action. So if somebody's pretty coy with their bidding, then you could decide that they're going to stay like that. Or if somebody's pretty reckless, then you might decide to try and force them into making the bid, right? Because eventually somebody is going to have to open the bidding, right? It better not be you. Skull and Roses is the epitome of simplicity, and we always pull this out at parties. So if you ain't got no mates, you're in the shit, ain't you? 2 on this list is another game by Rana Knizia. It's Modern Art. Some people say this is the best auction game that has ever been made. It's up there, isn't it? It's number 2, you fucking dense motherfucker. But you'll be buying and selling paintings in this game. The twist is that you are going to be both the buyer and the seller of paintings, yeah? You're going to get the money personally if somebody else buys your paintings. But if nobody buys it, you're going to end up having to pay for it yourself. You better make sure those paintings that you want aren't going to be bought by anyone else, and the paintings that you don't want are definitely going to leave your collection. auction. However, the value of the paintings will be determined by how many types of those paintings are sold each round, yeah? So it's up to you to double down on the most valuable paintings at exactly the right time. And it uses the fantastic mechanism that your cash is your victory points, yeah? So you're going to have to spend cash to get these paintings, but you're going to need cash at the end of the game to win. What more can I say about modern art? It's the quintessential auction game, and it would have been number one had it not been for this beast. So the top auction/bidding game in our top 10 list of auction/bidding games is a game called QE, or quantitative easing. In this game, you will be bidding on company tiles that will give you points, yeah? The thing is that you're going to be able to bid an unlimited amount of money. You can bid as much as you like, as long as it is a positive amount, but you can bid zero once per round, yeah? You could bid $10 squillion if you want to. Once all the company tiles have been flogged off, then you'll go through a checklist of different scoring categories. You might get points for bidding zero, right? 2 points for each time you bid zero. You might get points for different types of industries on the company tiles. You might get points for having a set of the same type of industry on the company tiles. Or at the end of the game, if you spent the least, you're going to get 7 victory points extra. However, the thing that makes this game absolutely fantastic is that if you bid the most, then you can't win the game. You are eliminated. It's going to be the next highest reckless spendthrift that is going to win the game, that's going to pull the rug out from under your arse. QE is a game that shouldn't really work in practice, right? I've really seen a bidding game where you've got an unlimited amount of funds, but it causes an absolute ruckus when you write down an astronomical bid for Chinese housing, right, only to be usurped by an even more batshit crazy bid from your Aunt Mabel. That causes everyone's eyes to pop out of their socket and the hemorrhoids to fall from your arse. QE is a masterpiece in board game design, right? It's so simple, yet causes so much tension, right? And that's why it's number one in our top 10 auction/bidding games. So there you go. That is our top 10 auction bidding games. Remember, if your top auction game isn't on this list, then that's because A, we haven't played it, or B, we think it's complete and utter dog shit. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We'll see you next time.